few background about speaker, Hemang Desai is an HR professional with dynamic journey of 25 years into corporate HR. He has worked with esteemed organizations like SR, Reliance Industries Limited, Torrent Pharmaceutical Limited, Gujarat State Petroleum Corporation. He is also alumni of MS University of Baroda. Hemang is currently Group CHRO at US-based multinational Bunkai Ventures Incorporation. Hemang has an avid speaker, coach, mentor, and consultant with several MSMEs and academic institutes. Now, we'll hand over this mic to Hemang.
Hello.
Yes, Hemang.
Thank you, Chirag bhai, for a very generous introduction to me. About today's topic, as you were rightly saying, it is itself a very upcoming topic, as I would say, a very a topic which should attract most of our attention in the time to come, because we are at a place, we are at a juncture of our journey where as it has been found out in the last census that India has over 1 billion population of youth, and which is where we are at a competitive advantage, so to say, in the countries, in the third world countries, in the countries which are which are upcoming, which are growing, and the focus is on the youth of the country. And therefore this topic that I had picked up for today's evening talk, first of all, I'm very grateful to BMA for hosting me today, and having me here for this wonderful topic which is close to my heart. If I go back to my workplace, today most of the corporate HR people are grappling with this issue of having 3 generations at work, and sometimes more than 3 generations. So the most of the senior generations up till, let's say, people of my generations were more or less predictable. They had a boss to report to. They were obedient, so more or less. And if they didn't like something, they would sulk. They would leave the job at the most. But they were less demanding, I would like to say, arguably, than the generation that is coming now. So I thought, let us not put a label anywhere on the current generation, and try and see what is it that we can do about it. What is it that we can, because we all agree that they are the main source of putting energy into the current system, the ecosystem, and the business, future of the business. So let us get into something which is productive, which is where instead of just armchair hunting, we come to some positive solutions which are win-win situations, especially for HR, because and the management and the industry. And when I did some research about it, I realized that this is equally true at our homes, at our places where children who are growing in teenage, about teenage, are raring to go. They have different aspirations. They have different ways to achieve what they want to. And sometimes we fail to understand why they are bubbling with so much energy but are not able to achieve what they want. So is there a midway, is there a solution? And that's where I came across some thoughts which I would like to share here. If you permit me, I'll take a minute to share my screen, and then we can take it forward. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You can.
Is it visible?
Yes,
Hello?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So this is about the Gen Next that we are talking about. Especially the focus is on the millennials, the people who have born after 2000 or near about 2000 year, and there they are coming as a huge workforce now. We have to channelize their energy. We have to understand them. We have to ensure that they contribute in a meaningful way, and yet are able to manage and maintain their identity, that which sometimes we simply brush off under our rules, our guidelines, our policies, and we don't allow their individuality to come to terms, so this is an effort to understand them closely, and probably with your help this would come out to be very insightful session where I can make out a few more initiatives. I can take few more initiatives at my place, my workplace also, and that's the idea of sharing this. So it was Alvin Toffler who said, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, and but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So today is the time where unlearning becomes equally important. We are all busy learning new things. We have learned a few things. We always are very proud of what we have learned. I have done this degree, I have done this degree from that university and that university. We are always proud about that, but we often, and we are also sometimes forced to relearn a few things, update ourselves constantly, because what is relevant today becomes obsolete tomorrow. So we do a lot of relearning also. We miss the middle point, which is unlearning, which is very, very important. And that reminds me of a anecdote, and which is so relevant today. Is there was a music teacher, and there were you know two persons who were keen to be his disciple. There is a music guru. So both the person incidentally goes at the same time to connect with the guru, and one asks the guru as to, sir, I have I'm an illiterate as far as music is concerned. I don't know what is sur, what is tal, what is rag, etc. So I have to learn from the basic, from the scratch. So will you be please teaching me all this and much more in music? I want to be a good singer. So the guru said, well, I can do that. I will teach you very well and to the best of my abilities, and I'll charge you about 500 rupees a month. So the guy was very happy, and he said, sir, very much, from when can I come? So the guru said, next day you can start learning. There is no second day for learning. So you can come tomorrow and start learning. So he goes home happily, and the other one asks guru, said, I was just overhearing what you were telling to this guy, and the conversation between you and this guy. And this guy was totally illiterate as far as music is concerned, but I have done my 5 years or rather Upantya Visharad into it. So I'm already there. I mean, I've learned a lot of rags and this and that, but I just need to brush up a few things. I need to learn the missed portion, and I need to do a little more additional work. You need to do a little more additional work on me, which will complete my course, and then I'll be an expert musician. I'm almost there, but you have to help me out. So the guru looks at him and says, well, I can do that. It's not a problem. So your I'll charge you about 1,000 rupees for that. The guy was completely demolished. He was shocked. He said, boss, you just told that illiterate guy who didn't know anything about music, and you told him that you will charge only 500 rupees, and I know most of the things, and you just have to put a little effort and I'll bring it to the table, and you are charging me 1,000 rupees. What is the fact? So he said, the guru said, I have charged you 500 rupees only for the learning part. The rest of the 500 is for unlearning what you have already learned. Okay, so sometimes your efforts, your task is more towards unlearning. The efforts are more towards unlearning, and that's where getting a younger workforce in HR today is the key. You take people who are ready to go, who have less unlearning to do, who are very vibrant, very energetic to pick up new things. They have this is the scenario today. These are the workforce that most of the organizations are looking at in terms of talent pipeline. Another reason why most of the organizations are looking at young people is because there is a tremendous dearth of ready-made talent. So when we talk about talent scarcity and the talent war for talent, when I hear those kind of words, somebody hello hello
Yes, sir. Audible.
audible.
Audible. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So somebody was asking me, how is it possible that in a country of 1 billion, 1.3 billion, we are talking about talent scarcity and war for talent? Why is it that there is a scarcity? We have 100 people, 100 billion, 1 billion people sitting there. You can just pick them up. So that's where I told him that 1 billion is about human resource, but talent is what we can employ them tomorrow. So there is a tremendous scarcity of people who are readily available with the right skills that we need, and therefore these youngsters are more in demand, who are adaptable, who are more flexible, who are more able to learn new things. And with the advent of artificial intelligence, the IT upsurge, there are a lot of people. There is a lot of demand on these young people, and they are coming up to the expectations. Let me tell you. So we are very happy with the trend that is going on. A little bit of understanding. This is what I was mentioning. That there are three generations currently working under the same roof, and that counts for the biggest challenge today's HR is facing. Why? Because they come with different aspirations on the ground. So sometimes I say this, that the current biggest challenge is for HR is aspirations management. How do you manage the aspirations of different generations? They have somebody would like to have stability over growth. Somebody would like to have quick growth. Somebody would like to have just be there and relax and enjoy the work. So you have different aspirations, and today's success of human resource management is nothing but aspirations management. So with different attitudes, with different approaches, different expectations from the workplace, from the management, and still you so gone are the days when you used to have a thick volume of policies which governed your working conditions, which governed your service conditions. Today you have to sit with individual, a kind of an individual research is what is required, especially with this kind of a huge young workforce, and you have to identify them very quickly. You have to channelize their energy very quickly, or else they are gone, because their aspirations cannot wait endlessly. I came across a guy who came to me and said, "Sir, I want to be a manager. Will your organization provide me?" I'm talking about some 8 years back experience. So this guy comes to me, a young guy, and he says, "Sir, I have about 3 years experience. Can I expect to be a manager in your organization with another 2 years maximum?" So I was very much aware about my HR policy, very proud of my HR policy that is coming out very uniformly, and I have drafted with a lot of hard work, and this is going to be the Bible for future and things like that. And this guy comes and walks in and says, "Can I be a manager in next 2 years time?" So I scratched my head and said, "Young boy, you are too young. We have HR policy which says minimum 8 years are required to become a manager in our hierarchical structure." And the guy says, "Thank you very much, sir. I have somebody. I've already got an offer of a manager, but I just thought I should ask you before leaving." And this is the kind of scenario that we have today. Nobody is looking for job today. Forget it. I mean, whatever the unemployment charts talk about, whatever the uproar is about people not getting the right employment and things like that. But the real competent people have no dearth of jobs today. And let me make this a very responsible statement coming from an HR professional, that there is no real dearth of a job. Maybe not at a place where you want, in, let's say, in a comfort of your city, but then ultimately there is no dearth of job in India. It is only that people are looking for careers and not jobs. Compared to our general impression about these youngsters, they are far more clearer. As you go into the depth, when you sit with them, you realize that they are far more clearer about what they want from their career, from their life, from their as a result, as an outcome from their hard work, than what we were when we were at that stage. So I think we must respect that, and therefore sometimes I feel myself like a curious kid, understanding from them as to what really goes through their mind. They are sitting on an information explosion. They are aware about, or they are expected to be aware about every single thing. And that is where these millennials make the mark. That's where they are different than most of others. And that's what perhaps Ruel Denny, the poet, had to say, that he talks about American youth, but it is coming out to be true in most of the countries for these young millennials, that youth, for that matter, any today has a bigger cast and a wider screen to perform. What he means is there is a huge canvas. They have to know about everything little bit here and there, and therefore we sometimes call them gadget freak. Sometimes call them surrounded by gizmos and gadgets, but they are required to be one up. They are required to be that much aware. Even sometimes the pressure is felt on us that if we should not sound like dumb illiterate people in front of them. They are so much aware. They may not be educated in the real terms, but they are far more aware than anybody else can be about their about the ecosystem that surrounds them. So, and plus there are parents who keep on updating them about how they have to be in terms of their attitude, in terms of their test, in terms of their etiquettes, ambitions, prejudices, ideals. They have to deal with so many things. I mean, it is the pressure is enormous for them to grow, and therefore all the more the need or the responsibility on us to understand them as to where do they come from, why are they behaving. Sometimes we pass a judgment, and it's very easy to pass a judgment that they are restless, they are irresponsible, they have no sense of commitment, they just simply fly by. These are the terms I have been hearing. These are the kind of comments that, and some of the comments maybe I have made sometimes. I'll be honest about it. But when I sit back and think deeply, this is what comes to my mind, that one has to understand why this happens. And therefore, I have this small video to understand what goes through when there are two generations, or rather three generations, working in the same organization. When they interact, when they go through some dialogue of keeping themselves where they are, and this is what comes out. I would like you to hear this out, because the dialogues are important, and slightly they are in American accent, so you need to be uh, slightly more attentive. But this is what comes out.
Sir, sound is not audible, sir. Hemang, sir, sound is not audible.
It's still not audible, sir. Sir, the sound is not audible. Could you?
Hemang, sir. Actually, I have seen this video. This is one of the HR manager, and she is one of the employee who is trying to shoulder off her responsibilities. And this HR guy, who is a very senior guy, he's trying to listen her aims, what she want to do, and he is very surprised with her aims. Like uh, when he's asking for her expectation, he is kind of very much um, surprised with the expectation and the work responsibilities which she want. Um, uh, he is also surprised with the responsibilities he is accepting. So all these are my kind of assumptions. Some of them are my assumptions about this video. Um, Hemang sir, hello. Um, Basically, this slide shows
I believe there is some technical error because there is some problem at Hemant sir's screen.
Yes, correct, correct. I think so. So, what do you think, Parang, about this much of program? What are your opinion about this program?
Well, I must say that the topic itself is very interesting, and for a person like me, the firm that I'm working in, we have we have seniors who have been working in the same office for over 50 years now,
Mhm.
and then there are people in the middle age, and then there are people like us who are probably in their 20s. So almost 50% of the workforce now is in their 20s and 30s, and we really see the difference in the work. As sir has rightly explained, that there's a lot of difference in the way the three generations approach work, the way they execute their work. Even the speed, and definitely added with the added technical knowledge about computers and everything. Uh, it's a kind of a revolution now.
Yeah, yeah, that's correct, Param. I think we are getting some sound from Hemant.
Yes, he
Hello.
appears to be online. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Audible?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You're
You're
audible
audible
now.
now.
Yeah,
Okay.
over to you, sir.
So
Continue,
sorry,
please.
sorry about this problem. Uh, so sometimes I've given this youngsters. So I hope you could hear the video at least.
No, sir. The sound in the video was not audible.
Oh, we missed something. Okay.
Yes, sir. We
Let me
missed
go
that.
back to that video. Uh, so this video is all about how the youngsters and the elder generation communicate, and what are the generation gaps that you find generally in organizations. That was what I was trying to highlight through this.
So same here. Still, we are not getting any sound for this video.
Oh, very surprised. Even now?
So
Yes,
you
sir.
can
There's
give some description about this video. Like we have given some description based on our assumptions. Um,
I would wish this is heard. Okay, let me try some other way. All right, so this video is about how the youngsters have different choices when it comes to workplace, and how we assume that they would come with this mindset when we interact with them, and that's where the whole confusion comes, and it was depicted in a very nice way, but somehow I'm not able to get through. Anyways, we'll go to the next what we till I'm able to do it. So uh, I have described this word as Boeing. Some of the qualities that we often assume we have in these youngsters in the generation next, where Boeing has certain qualities, like it is robust, it has uh, perhaps the best aircraft to fly through the sky. It has got huge thrust and energy when it drives you, when it flies you through the skies. The same I see a simile in the youngsters that I deal with day in and day out. But they have this kind of qualities which we assume at times, and they exhibit also at times, where they are bizarre, they sound very unfamiliar, very strange. What they want to convey is perhaps is not conveyed to us in the right way, or they are having there too many thoughts to explain and express themselves clearly. It what sometimes comes out. they sound to us as outlandish because they are creating a new pattern in terms of employment. I sometimes come across a very strange request, sir, can I sit under a tree outside and in our campus and do my work because I'm bored of sitting in my chair all the time. So you have to entertain such requests because they are not habituated to sitting 10 hours at one place, 9 hours at one place. Their logic is very simple. We can do what before COVID. Also, they wanted to have the flexi hours. They wanted to work at home in the comfort and coziness of their home because they believe that ultimately the objective has to be solved. Ultimately, the company's objective should add value to me, and I'm not here to just do something for the sake of salary. So they are very outlandish, very difficult to understand because they are creating a new wave in the organization. They are creating a different culture altogether in each of the organization. Even the most conservative organizations have to change because they have to accommodate these young people. I would say they are very volatile and explosive because they explode. They are very expressive. They are very clear in what they want, and sometimes it is not liked by people who have believed that the work culture has to be in certain way. So they demand a lot of flexibility. They want that they're visible. They expect that their smallest efforts need to be appreciated, and they need to be encouraged, or they will sulk sometimes, and they will bring negativity in the work, and which is where we need to be careful about them. So they are explosive. They are very intimidating because they are far more clearer. They are far more convincing in their thought process, and because they have got greater information about a particular subject than we think they should be having. So they sound to be very argumentative and adamant. This is generally the impression that we carry, and I've tried to make it into some words, but this is what generally we have that impression about them. We found them nervous, we found them restless. We often complain that they lack focus. Today's generation doesn't have the focus. They don't know what they want to do because in next 5 years, because they don't see that far. They see what is immediately that can be achieved. They are very clear. They want to put efforts in something which can be accomplished. So they are very clear about what they want from their work, and therefore it's an allegation on them. But then this is what we generally perceive, that they lack focus. They are uncertain about what they want. They are perhaps unorganized about not going through a systematic effort. They don't believe that I should wear a formal shirt and a tie and go to office. They feel in whatever comfort I mean dress I am, I would go to the office ideally. And they are gushing. They have lots of energy, and that sometimes creates a wrong impression that they are imbalanced. They put efforts into something which is meaningless. But ultimately, there are many. Today, we see in my company we have allowed people to come and try out their entrepreneurship also. So there are many student entrepreneur who are coming forward and exploring their skills into various areas. They don't want to confine themselves as finance specialist or HR specialist or marketing specialist. They want to do everything which a CEO can do. So they want to be an entrepreneur, and they want to start this business from the day one, soon once they are out of the college. So they are coming with a lot of energy, and we need to stop identifying them as restless and unstable. And sometimes we tell them that they are abnormal, which is why they are a generation away. They are generation apart. and that is what we need to pick up very quickly. So what needs to be what they expect out of us and what needs to be done from our side is care. When you need to care, you need to show compassion, you need to have that empathy towards them, you need to understand why they are doing what they are doing, what they have been subjected. So somewhere we need to develop, allow them to develop new ideas. We need to create an environment which helps them, um, uh, helps them foster their energies, divert their energies, channelize their energies into something. And for that, what they need is simply our compassion, our empathy towards it. Adaptability, while I have seen in some of the organizations, they are expected to be adaptable to the environment, to the changing demands, but very rarely we do understand and go out and adapt to their needs. Um, so you just have to understand, especially as management and the seniors, that they have to be unique to give us the value, and it is our role to, or it is our job to get to understand their uniqueness. Very, very important thing we need to do. We need to make them understand the importance of resilience, and therefore we need to exemplify that. We need to understand and make them understand that we need to face the adversity, especially post this pandemic. The things have really gone haywire in certain cases. Certain organizations have faced very adverse situations, and where you need a lot of experimenting, and that is all fine. So, many a times these youngsters get shaken up with a little failure. One of the drawback that I have seen is that also, that they are unable to digest a few failures here and there. So we need to bring in that kind of a resilience towards those adversity in them, and then a lot of encouragement, of course, because one thing I have noticed is they also need a constant pat on the back. If they achieve a little, they look back as to whether they have been recognized, whether they have been appreciated, because what we do normally is link the achievement with the rewards, and what they are seeking perhaps is more of recognition and appreciation rather than rewards. So monetary rewards are one thing, of course it is welcome by anyone, but this generation is more hungry for appreciation, to be recognized at an early age, and they want to prove their point beyond their peers, and they are ready to do whatever you want to, provided they see an achievement in that. So that is what the care is all about, for the Boeing that we have created. And the Boeing would need the fuel, and therefore we need to fuel them. Now, what is fuel is something very close to my heart. So we need to, and this is the formula which I have been adopting while dealing with these youngsters in my career. Um, of course, last 10 years have been very critical in implementing this fuel with my colleagues who are very young. We often recruit them from the campuses. Sometimes they come in as interns, and they have a lot of new ideas, a lot of vibrancy, a lot of energy, and this needs to be dealt with, of course, responsibility, with, of course, discipline, and without losing the focus on the performance. So I always say this, that in any organization, two things are non-compromisable. One is the discipline, and other is the performance. So we are always looking to encourage them, but then these are the things which are very, very important. So one, we need to foster them. we need to provide that kind of a freedom to explore, experiment. One of the things which comes as a bottleneck in this is in the name of organizational decorum, policies, processes, systems. We try to bind them as much as possible, and that kind of suffocates them. So I see a person joining us, and then in 6 months, he would come to me and say, "Sir, I don't find the kind of environment that I was looking for, or I would like to look for an option where I want to study further and get into something like Google or Microsoft," because they would have seen something where they are given a lot of freedom there. Perhaps there is more hard work, there is more toil there, but they would not mind to put in their heart into it, provided they are given that kind of freedom to execute and explore and experiment, of course. So these are something which we need to be careful, and if we give them that kind of a free rope, they will certainly stay with you for a longer time, and they will give out their best. Uh, we need to understand them, of course, their dreams, aspiration, as I told you earlier, that today's HR, human resource management, is nothing but aspiration management. And what I mean by aspiration management is try and understand how we can accommodate individual aspirations, their dreams, their frustrations, their way of dealing life in general, and specifically work life. So, how do they handle their problems? What kind of solutions they bring into the table? How did they arrive at that table, that solutions? Because that is also very important for young people, that they struggle, and then they achieve that. So we need to keep their interest and the passion intact, and that is where we need to understand them. We need to excite them, obviously, because when we talk about this generation next, they are constantly looking for an excitement. Why? Because there is always a need to you know uh, need to uh, be charged up, and they that is why it's no wonder that most of the some of the youngsters go for drug abuse. They go for all sorts of narcotics and other things which give them kick. So if we provide that sort of a kick here at the workplace, creating newer horizons which are closer to their goals, with closer to their aspirations, um, those synergies can be easily generated, and that is what will keep them going, and you will get abundant energy from there, which perhaps will keep the organization motivated and focused. Make them liable, which is where I see most of the organizations are doing uh, the the fostering part well. Perhaps some of them understand them, try to understand them through flexible policies and other things. Perhaps to an extent they can excite them in consultancies organization by giving them constantly new assignments. I've seen many other organizations which are keeping a separate track for youngsters, to career tracks for them to feel excited about. Where we fail is to keep them responsible, and that requires some special efforts. We need to, and that is very, very important. As I said, performance and discipline in any organization are two non-compromisable things, and that's where the role of the management, the leaders, are very, very important. The managers are very, very important, as to constantly seek the accountabilities, the ownerships from these youngsters. Because on the long run, they would be happy that they are made responsible for something. As I told you, they also seek
whether they appear or not, they also seek a certain degree of accomplishment in every task they are associated with. So this accomplishment will be felt. The sense of accomplishment will only come if they feel liable for something, if they feel responsible for something, if they get the ownership for something. If they are treated in herd, if they are treated as a group of people, if they are treated like following someone, as followers of someone, they would perhaps not get the desired sense of accomplishment. And that is what this fuel is all about. If we are constantly providing the right fuel, your Boeing will not only take off with the right thrust, but probably it will reach the zenith, and it will create wonders in your organization. It will have the best of the people potential exploited, or rather exposed, and they would have the best of the performance to uh, to achieve. And this is purely based on what I have experienced. I have experimented sometimes, and I have really got the brightest of results among these youngsters. With this, I would like to also like to take a few questions after this. And last but not the least, a big thank you on this for giving me this patient audience, and once again apologize for the sound breakup in between, and that may be some technical glitch which I'm not aware. But thank you very much for all this patient audience, patient listening to me. And this was wonderful an experience sharing with you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I think that this was really a very important session in today's times, as we were discussing when there was that slight gap. Because I'm seeing that personally, working in an organization where we have seniors who have worked for more than 50 years and they're still continuing as a consultant.
Correct.
Then there are people in the middle age in their 30s and 40s. And then there is a group of all of us who are still in their 20s. And definitely, as you said, that working with all the three generations, they have different approaches, they have different ways of approaching a given problem. Then definitely the factor of computer literacy kicks in, and so with all of that, it is really a very challenging situation at times to deal with their three approaches, their egos, and getting the job done. So, and I must say that when we read the topic, it was actually like I think I, Chirag, and all of us who are attending must have been of the opinion that we would be dealing with how to work with the Gen Next, and how we can bring out the harmony. And probably the word fuel was just taken normally as how to fuel the next generation. But when you just explained right now with your entire analogy of Boeing and fueling that Boeing, it is really a very different experience. And I must say that hats off to you, sir, for bringing out this acronym into its full blossom. What do you say, Chirag?
Thank you.
Yes, Param, you are absolutely correct. First question we have, we'll take a question answer now. First question is we have about mid-age people like us who are in 40s, like 30s and 40s. We have the challenge to fuel young team members uh, about the guidance of old people. Like we know in some way our ancestors given us very good guidance from the years, but we have the challenge to explain young people about the rituals, about the methods they followed, about the respect methodology they given us. We know that those things are absolutely 100% pure like Amrut. But young people, we have the challenge to explain that and convince them. So we know our ancestors have done a lot of work. They have given a lot of sacrifice to make this platform, but to explain that to young people, we have a lot of challenge. So what do you suggest, sir? How we can do that?
There are a couple of things. So our role is, if I have understood your question correct, we have to mediate somewhere. We have to, since we have been brought up in that environment where we learn to respect naturally, uh, where we have been told that just because somebody is elder to you, you have to offer the respect, you have to bow down, you have to ensure that you don't talk in a rude manner. You may have to talk with lot of reverence to such people. But when it comes to this generation, they have been brought up in an environment, or rather, I would not like to generalize, but generally what happens is they have been very demanding. And as I have mentioned already, they don't respect you just because you are of a certain age. Uh, so you need to command respect. You can't demand respect from them. That is very clear. And another aspect which I have understood from your question is that why we need to simply give them what our elders have given to us. We need to also appreciate, that was the heart of what I presented. We need to also appreciate that they are in a different ecosystem. They are in a different environment, different age altogether. They may not accept, even if they have to, it would be temporary. They may not accept because that will not be relevant. It's like giving them a 5 paise coin or a 10 paise coin and saying them, Ki, we used to be very happy with this 10 paise coin when we used to get this. Because in our childhood, we used to get a pan paper of that 10 peppermint of that 10 paisa. But will he be happy the same way? No, because we have been brought up in a different environment. He would rather not be happy with a 100 rupee note also. Whereas in our case, when we were studying, 100 rupee was a big thing. Perhaps we can run the show for 15 days with that 100 rupee note. Today, he won't be happy for a day also. So we need to translate, we need to bring in to what is relevant to them. Of course, as you rightly said, it was an Amrut, but Amrut has to go through that manthan every few years, every few generations. And it has to come out with the crux of what is that Amrut, without losing our sanskar, without losing our culture, what we can pass on to our generation next so that it is still relevant to them. Okay, so if you give them, let's say, a Bhagavad Gita, which is written hundreds of years or the thousands of years before, in its raw form, they might keep it in some desk or some cupboard, but they might not, read it thoroughly. But if you translate it into some anecdotes which is relevant to today's lifestyle and how it is related to what Krishna said to Arjun in those days, perhaps they would read it. That perhaps it is relevant to my technology group also, in my organization also, how I deal with my superior or my colleagues. It is still applicable. That same Arjun or same Kauravas or Pandavas are existing, but it is probably within me or within my environment. So once you give them that kind of an understanding, they will like to follow what you are trying to say. I hope, Chirag bhai, I answered what you said.
Yes, sir. Partially, we agree what you say. Uh, the next question uh, we have in the same manner. Say, some scientist is working for 25 years. He has given a life for discovering something. Now, when
Okay.
that scientist is explaining that formula to youth, it takes only 5 minutes to explain it.
Certainly.
But that youth is not respecting him. Uh, I'm using English word. We can say in Hindi, we can say rishi. One rishi has spent 40 years of his life for uh, for inventing something, for developing something, and now after 40 years, he's explaining to youth with that formula. And if that youth is not respecting that thing, what that rishi need to do? That is the next question.
I think my answer will be the same for this also. That Rishi needs to devise a method in which he needs to explain to them so that they understand the value of the effort that has gone into it. See, usually what we do is we tell them that I have spent 40 years in this. Okay. And the obvious expression you will find on their face is, so what? Why did you spend so much of time? Okay. But if you tell them that what would it mean to you, how would it serve the purpose for you? Because I have spent 40 years, perhaps they would learn to appreciate you more. Perhaps they would appreciate that this is why, this is what we cannot do. And therefore, this must be something extraordinary. If we simply put it like, just because I have spent 40 years, you have to appreciate me or you have to respect me, or I'm at a pedestal, that will not happen. This, as I was mentioning, this generation needs a lot of conviction to accept what you are trying to say, because they are far more informed. They also have come to know that there have been frauds who have been putting on their CVs that I've done 40 this for 40 years. May not be a scientist, may not be a rishi, but he calls himself guru. So they are having their own convictions that this is why we need to respect. This is where we need to respect. This is what it is. Not that this generation is totally disrespectful of people, but they have their own reasons. They have their own convictions why we should respect. And that is what the rishis should know. That is what the crux of my program is. That my talk today is that you need to understand if you want to get that advantage from them. Right? So you need to bring in that kind of conviction in you have to sometimes be a curious kid to be with them and understand what is their lingo, what is their common understanding about the subject, about the problem, and how my 40 years of research can help them solve their problems. Only then you will get the respect.
I think that's an excellent answer. Now I will hand over this mic to Nimil sir to ask and describe about the thing.
Yeah. Thank you, Chirag. Chirag, frankly speaking, this is my fourth experience in Friday evening talk where I'm as a speaker. So to hear from the Imam for 45 minutes and just concluding that I'm an experienced person at a Friday evening talk, it's a hidden task for me. So thank you, Imam. First of all, yeah, thank you. So Imam, one good thing about what you say about the talk in the first line, 3 generations under the one roof. Imam, what is your opinion? What is the important day in a life? ज्यादा दिवाली देखी है या ज्यादा फटाके फोड़े? यंग जनरेशन किसको सपोर्ट करेगा? Everything we everything we expect from the generation. Then what's about the responsibility of senior? Yeah, Emma.
निविल भाई, मेरे ख्याल से दिवाली कितनी देखी है उस पे आपको रिस्पेक्ट नहीं करेगा, आपको कितना एफिशिएंटली फटाके फोड़ने आते हैं उस पे रिस्पेक्ट करेगा, बिकॉज आपने कितनी भी दिवाली बिना फटाके भी बिताई हो तो उसके लिए वो रिस्पेक्ट नहीं करेगा,
Right.
because again what is the objective? So your objective is to prove that because I have seen more Diwalis than you, my ability to fire you, and therefore I should get the respect. Okay, so if your objective is to exhibit your skills and thereby get the respect, then आपके efficiently फटाके फोड़ने से उसको पता चल जाएगा, and these are very very bright people. उसको आपके फटाके फोड़ने से पता चल जाएगा कि आपने कितनी दिवाली देखी. You may not even tell them that I've seen 40 Diwalis or 50 Diwalis.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. So that's the reason that fuel formula is more important.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Umang, for the perfect answer, because you and me and many people right now in the participant are the father of young children.
Yes.
Those who are
Yes,
either
very
at going to
yes, very
college
true,
or
and that's
just
why I
every day
said
we are
it is
facing
equally
this.
true.
Yeah. So just in between that, message to the all the public to get the live experience about the more numbers of Pataka. Friday Night Talk is one of the solution for all of us to continue with the Friday Night Talk at 6:30 every Friday. So as a parents, as a senior person, we will get the idea about what is the new management story. Hemang, apart from this, just last week we have discussed regarding the one of the new management concept, what as a HR senior person you think, and that is a leadership, right?
Yes.
I
Yes, true.
believe that, yeah. So my question is it something like situational leadership or something like this or something different?
No, it is leadership is a new concept which is a combination of team and leadership. Okay, so today's leaders are not expected to be just the leaders for the sake of it. They are not leaders because they've been given a chair or a position. They are leaders because they allow others to lead where they think it will bring the right results. So coming back to your question, whether it is same as situation leadership, no, because situation leadership, as I have understood, is more out of compulsion, more out of you are put into a particular situation, whereas leadership is more of a strategy that you adopt as an organization, as a leader. And of course, it is a very interesting concept which is coming up, which has been very very relevant, which is very much appreciated by the young and the leaders both, that it will resolve a lot of conflicts which are happening among the leaders and the team members today, because the team members have the complaint that our efforts are, or we are not being heard first of all, and then our efforts are not appreciated, and then the the leaders feel that because they are not aware about the potential of the team members fully, how would they identify the potential? How do we understand that this guy is better than this person in this particular situation or this particular task? And that is where the concept of leadership has evolved to be very handy for the leaders.
Okay,
Thank you, Nimit.
thank you, man. So this is the subject what we are discussing regarding the full day management development program. I think Alpesh KG is there in participation, right? So just we have discussed. So friends, very soon we will declare this half day or full day management development program. And thanks a lot, Hemang, well in advance
My pleasure.
that you have accepted to address the one management development program, because 45 minutes from the person like you, having the experience of the top corporate strategy designer to the multinational company, also with the factory management. There are many, many lots of your background is there. So if you serve Baroda Management Association for the half day or full day training program, then only I can say that your HR expertise will helpful to the next generation as well as all the corporate our members. What do you say, Chirag? Param also there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what is you say?
So definitely we should really plan something like that.
Yes, I also agree.
And we have actually had this opportunity to hear to so many experienced professionals, and for a professional like Hemang sir is sparing his time for this Friday evening talk. So definitely, as much as he is able to give us, and we are always ready to receive. We are always eager and ready to receive.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Nimil sir, you put
it's a-
my first name in that list. I'll be attending full day program.
So nice, so nice. It will be a mutual pleasure, sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hemang sir, and thank you all attendees for spending a time. From BMA side, we thank you for your valuable time and giving a very good guidance to us. Of course, this has passed a very good message to youngsters as well as elders. Thank you very much, and we can call a day now. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Hemang sir, for the session. And from the team of Friday Evening Talks, I also thank our President Deepak sir and Vice President Nimil sir for giving us this opportunity and giving us such wonderful speakers to listen to. And thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you.